this is fifth lecture on numerical analysis. So any doubt in the previous lecture? We have completed our first chapter, and now we will move on the second chapter. Actually, in the second chapter, we will find out the root finding problems. We will discuss about the root finding problems in this chapter, and we will do 4 methods here. That is bisection, Newton secant, and fixed point iteration. Okay. So first of all, we will discuss about one important theorem, that is intermediate value theorem. Actually, this is the theorem that will tell you it is to find the interval. Find the interval in which root of f of x lie. Root of f of x is equal to 0 lie. Means suppose you have an equation f of x is equal to 0, you have to find the root of this equation. So this equation will be given to you, but now where to start? That suppose this is the equation, then where to start? Then you have to start with 1 2, means if it is, suppose exact root is 1.3. 1.3 means if I put 1.3 into the function, then it will gives you 0. So now where to start? That we will get a one interval that in which our root lie. Suppose 1.3 is a root of this equation, so at least you will get 1 1 2 interval, because we know that 1 3 is lie in this interval. So we will try to find a interval in which our root lie. That this theorem will tell you. So it will be easy to find the root, approximation of the root by this theorem. So now how to find the interval here? So there are some conditions actually. Suppose f of x is equal to 0 is a given equation. So let this f of x, means this is a function, that equation will be given to you. Now we are taking this function only, f of x. It should be continuous. So it is a continuous function. It is a continuous function on the interval AB. This I have randomly chosen any interval AB. You can take 2 3 also, means I can take any interval. Any interval 1 4 0 1. So any interval you can take AB, and you have to choose this interval in such a way so that f of A into f of B is less than 0. This should be satisfied by this function on this interval. Okay, so these two conditions should be satisfied, means one is continuity and second one is f of A into f of B should be less than 0, not equal to 0, less than 0. If it is equal to 0, then you can say either A will be the root or B will be the root of this equation. So that's why we are taking strictly less than 0 here. So in that case, if these two conditions are satisfied by any function on any interval, then there exists, this is a sign of mathematical symbol of there exists, a number C belongs to AB, that belongs to the open interval AB, such that f of C will be 0. F of C will be 0 means C will be the root of this equation. C is a root of f of x is equal to 0. So it means if these two conditions are satisfied by any function, then this interval will always contain root of this function. So it is better if you have an interval to apply any method, any numerical techniques, means you can apply any methods, bisection, Newton secant, and fixed point, if you have an interval. Okay. So for example, if I'm taking suppose f of x is any function here, And if suppose I'm randomly choosing any points here, first time start with, you can start with negative points also, but if I want to find the positive root here, so I will start with 0. So find the value of this function at 0 if suppose it is negative. Okay, this function should be continuous also. F of 1, then I will check at f of 1. You can check at 0.5 also, but if I write the natural numbers only, then f at 1, suppose it is again negative, so it will gives you, means that will not gives you anything. 0 1, it means root will not lie in 0 1 because you are getting same sign here. Okay, so next I will find out at 2. Suppose it is positive, means value you are getting at f at 2, it is positive. Then you will ensure that at 1 and 2, in the interval 1 and 2, you will always get a root of this equation. So this is the criteria to find an interval in which our root lie. So how it works, suppose I am taking this graphically. This is x axis, this is y axis. I am taking any function. This is a continuous function. And obviously the root, it means where it cuts the x-axis. So this is the exact root of this function. Let us write it as a c. Okay. So now I am taking any interval a. I am taking any random values here, a and then b. Here it is b. So suppose a and b is the interval. Okay. So here you can see f of a is negative if I find the value of this, and f of b is positive. So here you can see it cuts the x-axis here. So c will be the root of this equation. So this intermediate value will work when you have a continuous function and you have a opposite sign at the end points of this interval, and their product should be less than 0. Or you can say they are of opposite sign. Okay, so then you will always get a root of this function, root of this equation in this interval. So now you will get an interval at least, means after finding the interval, so now you have to find the root here, because we don't know the root here. We know we came to know only interval, that our root will lie between this interval 1 and 2, but what is the exact value of that interval, means what will be the good approximation of that root here. So it can be 1.1 also, 1.2, 1.29, 1.3, 1.4. It can be anything between 1 and 2. It can be 1.9 also. So that will be depending on the function. But you have you came to know the interval at least. So intermediate value theorem will tell you the interval only in which our root lie. Okay. So our next thing, how to find the how to find the root of this equation, f of x is equal to 0. So now we have 4 methods. So first of all, we have a bisection method. So now what is the procedure of the bisection? So suppose you have a given equation f of x is equal to 0. So first you ensure f of x is a continuous function, and from IVT, means intermediate value theorem, by taking randomly points, means first I will put 0, then 1, then 2. If you are getting same sign, then you can put 3, 4. So at last, suppose you are getting 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 will be your interval in which your root will lie. Okay. So always take the smallest interval, because if I take f of 1 is positive, f of 2 is also positive. If I take f of 3 is also positive, f of 4 is negative, suppose, then 3 4 will be the interval. You can also say 1 and 4 will also be the interval, but it is better if you choose the smallest interval. So the root will lie in 3 4. You can find at 3.5 also. So that will gives you the lesser iteration. Okay. So from IVT, suppose I found the interval AB. So you find the interval AB. So now by the bisection method, you are finding the root of this equation between this interval. So now what is the first step? X1 means I am taking the first iteration. By taking bisection means you are bisecting the interval here. So from the name of bisection, it means we are bisecting the interval by taking the midpoint of these two, a plus b by 2. So this is the interval AB. This is the interval AB. So this is A, this is B. You are bisecting the interval AB into two parts, two sub intervals. So that will gives you AX1 and X1B. So these are two subintervals. Okay. So now obviously root lie in this interval. Now if you have divided this interval into two parts, so root will lie either in this part or in this part. So how to decide? Suppose from the IVT you have decided this interval. Suppose f of A is positive and f of B is negative. That we have assumed. You can take negative positive also. Suppose for the simplicity, I'm taking positive negative. Okay. So now the sign of, now check the sign of x1, because we have to find out it at each which interval our root will lie. So check this sign of f of x1. Suppose it is negative. So it means f of A is positive, f of x1 is negative, f of x1 is negative, and f of B is negative. So it means you are getting the same sign in this interval and you're getting the opposite sign in this interval. So it means f of A is positive, f of x1 is negative. So here in this interval, you will always choose the opposite sign interval, because from the again IVT, if I am applying the IVT again to this interval, so I will get the root in this interval only, because these are giving you opposite sign. So this is the this negative I have assumed only. So it means the root lie in AX1. So you leave this interval. So this way you can see, if I have a bigger interval, you are bisecting this interval, and suppose you have 1 2 interval, you are bisecting this, then you will get 1 or 1.5. So that will be the interval now. This will be the interval. So it will be easy. Initially you have 1 2, it can be any random value that is a root of this equation. Vidushi, actually this is the general case, so I am assuming the positive and negative sign. But if we do the particular example, then we will able to find what this is positive or this is negative. That I have assumed. Suppose it is positive and it is negative. So it is there is not to worry. Yes. So it will be better if you have a smaller interval than this. So now root will lie in this interval. So now again I'm using the bisection. Actually IVT and bisection both are you have to use it together only. Here I've used in IVT, then I'm using bisection. Here I'm using bisection method. So bisection method will gives you two subinterval. Then again I'm using IVT. Again here from IVT, I will decide that root will lie in this interval. So here I'm using IVT. So now again I'm using bisection. So again you take the midpoint of these two, a plus, let us call it x2, a plus x1 divide by 2. So again you will get two subintervals, x2, this or this. So either root will lie in this interval or in this interval. So again you can write a x2 and x2 x1. So root will lie either in this interval or in this interval. So how you will decide? So again, you check the sign of f of x2. So if f of x2 is positive, then because here you are getting positive, then f of x2 will be positive. Then you will leave this interval because they are giving you a positive same sign. And if x2 is positive and x1 is negative, because f of x1 is negative, then you will take this interval. So suppose if it is positive, it can be negative also, that will be depending. So if it is negative, then f of a is positive, then f of x2 will be negative, then you will take this interval only. So let us take it is negative. Suppose it is negative. Okay, let us take positive only. So if it is positive here, positive, then it is negative here. So root will lie from IVT, you can say. Root lies in opposite sign interval. So you always go with the opposite sign interval x2, x1. So this way you are taking this interval, means you are bisecting this interval again and again. So at last you will get, then again I'm using bisection method. So again I will get x3 on this interval. I will take x2 plus x1 divided by 2. So again I will bisect this interval, means in figure I can see here the root will lie x2, x1. So root will lie in this interval. So again, I bisect this interval into x3, x2, x3, then x3, x1. So this will be the procedure. Means this is the first iteration, I can say. This is first iteration. This is second iteration. This is third iteration. So this way you will get a sequence of the roots here. Means if I find the iterations, so x1, x2, you have started with the interval, then by taking the midpoint you are getting the x1, then again you are getting a one interval in which you are getting opposite sign, then again you bisect the interval, means take midpoint of that number, that endpoints of that interval, you are getting x2, then x3, and so on up to xn plus 1, and so on up to. So this sequence will converge to your exact root. If I say this is p, so this is the exact root. It is the procedure of the bisection method. You always find the interval by using IVT, then bisect the interval, then again check the sign of that number, then again you select that interval only in which you are getting opposite sign, then again you have to take the midpoint of that. So this is the procedure of the bisection. So now question is that what is the stopping criteria? So before going to the stopping criteria, first we see it's graphically how it works. Suppose it is the function. This is the exact root of this equation. This is p. Suppose it is p. And now if I'm choosing any random interval a and b, okay, suppose it is b is here, suppose. So f of a, suppose it is negative here, f of b, it is positive here. So let us take its midpoint. X1 is equal to a plus b by 2. So let us take its midpoint here. This is the midpoint, call it x1. Okay, so now ax1, either ax1 or x1b, means root will lie either in ax1 or x1b. But from the figure you can see root will lie here only. So f at x1 you are getting negative, and here it is positive. So negative, positive you will take. So it is negative and here it is positive. But for initially AB, it is negative here and positive here. So now you leave this interval because it is negative here and negative here. So you leave this interval, you take this interval. So now again, bisecting this interval means x2 will be given by x1 plus b by 2. So midpoint of this interval. So that is x2. x2. Okay, so now again you are getting two subintervals, x1 x2, then x2b. So now here you can see from the figure, f of x2 is positive, so it is positive here, and at x1 it is negative, then positive, then positive, then it is positive. So you leave this interval, you take this interval only. So x1 x2. So again you find the midpoint. Suppose it is midpoint. Let us call it x3. So x3 will be x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So from the figure you can see, initially we have AB interval, then we have x1 as a first iteration, x2 as a second iteration, x3 as a third iteration, then our exact value is p here. So your sequence, your iterations are converging to your exact number here, that exact root here. So if I take x3, then again I will take x1 x3, then x3 x2. So again at x1 it is negative, then it is x3 will be, at x3 it is negative. So it is negative, negative and positive. So you take this interval x3 and x2. So you again you take the midpoint of these two. So this way it is approaching to your root here. So this way the bisection work. Actually it is a very slow process, no doubt, but still it will gives you the root. Okay. So now we will talk about the stopping criteria, that where you will stop, because that will give you the infinite series, infinite sequence. So you will not, obviously you will do this manually. So you are not going to find all the iterations that is up to infinity. So yes.
Yes,
Okay. So we are to stop. So by using bisection method, suppose I got x1, means it's the first iteration, means first iteration given by a plus b by 2. Then I find the x2 by taking any either ax1 or bx, x1b. Then I find the x3, x4. So after finding x1, means this is the first iteration. So then you have to find the second iteration. So find the second iteration. Then after finding two iterations, you just take the difference of these two iterations. Difference, then take mode. If it is less than your tolerance, actually tolerance will be given to you, means suppose in the question it will be given to you that you find f of x is equal, you find the root of f of x is equal to 0 up to this accuracy. Means suppose p is equal to, I'm writing the exact number here. Suppose root is 5.36213. Suppose this is the exact root of this equation, and question will be like this, that you have to find the root of this equation by using bisection method up to 2 decimal accuracy. Means I want the accuracy up to 2 decimal. So it means I should get x, means that is the approximate value of this p, that 5.36 will come in the accuracy. I'm ignoring this 213, but I should get the accuracy up to 2 decimal places. So then that will be the tolerance. So tolerance will be like this. Tolerance will be 10 raised to power minus 2. Means I want this accuracy at 10 raised to power minus 2. So if these two difference will be less than your tolerance, then it will be okay. Otherwise, you have to find the third iteration. So after finding third iteration, again you check x2 minus x3 will be or less than your tolerance. Tolerance means any 10 raised to power minus 3 will be given to you, 10 raised to power minus 1, 10 raised to power minus 2. So obviously if tolerance is 10 raised to power minus 1, then you have to do the lesser iteration than if you, tolerance is 10 raised to power minus 2. So if you raise this decimal places, if you want the accuracy at if you increase the decimal places here for the accuracy, then obviously iteration will be higher, increased. So now if it is less than your tolerance, suppose it is not, then you have to find the x3. Now if it is again not, you have to find x4. So again you find x3 minus x4 difference. Then if it is less than your tolerance, suppose it is less than your tolerance, then x4 will be your root. That will be the approximate root by the bisection method. So this is the stopping criteria actually for all the methods. This is not the just any criteria for bisection. This is all the criteria for any iterative methods. So there is another criteria also. So first one is this, that you can find the iterations different, means consecutive iteration difference. Second one is you can find the endpoints of the intervals. That is the same thing actually. You find a minus b. If it is less than your tolerance, obviously it will be not. So then you find, suppose I am taking x1b, then you find the difference of x1 minus b. If it is less than your tolerance, then you find the difference of the endpoints of the interval that you are getting of the opposite sign. So this way also you can find the root. So these are the stopping criteria that tolerance will be given to you. So this is the given tolerance. So let us find, let us take one example to find the root of this equation, that f of x is equal to x cube plus 2x square minus 3x minus 1. This is the cubic equation, has a root in 1, 2. Yes.
Ma'am, please show the previous slide.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So this is the equation, has a root in 1, 2. And also listen, if you are applying any method on any equation, that will work for only one root. Means if it is a cubic equation, obviously it has a three roots. It has at least 3 roots for this equation. That will not work for all the roots. So it will work that only for that root which lie in 1, 2. So if you are applying bisection method or any method on any function, on any equation, you will get only one root at a time. So if you want to find another root for that function, you have to change the interval. So show that function is this, has a root in 1, 2. You have to show that first of all. It means how to show that by IVT you can show it. So by IVT, so it is a cubic polynomial, it is a continuous function. So f of x is a cubic polynomial. So cubic polynomials are continuous in the finite interval. So it is continuous. Continuous on 1, 2. Actually interval is given, otherwise you can find the intervals also, but here you have to show that it the root lie in this interval. So now let us find the value at 1. 1 plus 2 minus 3 minus 1. So it is negative because it is minus 1. So it will be negative. At 2, 8 plus 8 minus 6 minus 1. So it is positive. It is positive. So this is continuous function on this interval, and you are getting opposite sign at the end points of this interval. So it means you can say f of 1 into f of 2 is less than 0. So from IVT you can say we have f of x is equal to 0 has a root in 1, 2. So this we have shown. Now next part is use bisection method to determine an approximation to the root that is accurate to at least within 10 raised to power minus 2. So this is your tolerance, that you have to find the accuracy up to 2 decimal at least, up to 10 raised to power minus 2 at least. So let us use the bisection method. Applying bisection. bisection method. Which is given to you. So now let us take P1, means I'm taking first iteration by taking 1, 2. So 1 plus 2 by 2, it will gives you 1.5. So this is the number. Now the root lie in between either 1 to 1.5 or 1.5 to 2, because interval was 1, 2. So we have divided this interval into two parts, 1 to 1.5. So either in this interval or in this interval. So now check the sign of f at 1.5. So you have to do the calculation here, f at 1.5, because equation is given to you. So you have to put 1.5 into the function. So if I find this value, then it will be positive. You can verify this also, it will be positive. So now here you can see at 1, it was negative. It is negative here and positive here. And here you are getting positive. So it means here you are getting an opposite sign. So by IVT, the root lie in opposite sign interval, that is 1 and 1.5. So P2 will be 1 plus 1.5 divided by 2. It will be 1.25. This is my second iteration. So now you have divided this interval into 1 and 1.25 or 1.25 to 1.5. So the root will lie, again you have to write, the root lie in either this interval or in this interval. So check that sign will decide, obviously, the sign of f at P2. That is 1.5. F at 1.25 will be positive. So here you are getting negative and it is positive here. So now here negative, positive. So it is positive. So you leave this interval, you take this interval. So 1 and 1.25. So P3. So P3 will gives you 1 plus 1.25 divide by 2. It will gives you 1.125. Oh, okay. Before finding P3, you have to check the tolerance also, accuracy also. P1 minus P2 means after finding the two iteration, you have to check the tolerance. So P1 minus P2, that is 1.5 and 1.25. It is not less than 10 raised per minus 2. So you have to find the third iteration only. So that's why we have found the third iteration. So now check P2 minus P3. It is 1.25 minus 1.125. So again, it is not less than 10 raised to minus 2. So you have to find the fourth iteration. So here, actually, for the simplicity, I'm making a table here that will be more easy to you. In the table, you have to write the iterations, number of iterations, and that will gives you A, that is our first point of the interval. B is the second point of the interval. And here I'm taking Pn, that is will be the midpoint of this. So here I will check Pn minus 1 means that is for the tolerance. And here I can check the sign, means positive or negative. So in the first iteration, I have first 1 and 2, means AB was 1 and 2, and our midpoint is 1.5. And if I find 1.5 minus, sorry, it will be, because in the first iteration I had no need to do anything. So Pn, it is here it will be here it was negative and it was positive. So here you are getting positive. So here in the second iteration, you are getting positive here. So 1 will be here because it is negative. 1 will be here. 2 will be replaced with 1.5 because here you are getting the positive sign. So positive will replaced with 1.5, smaller number. So now again you take the midpoint 1.25. So now you will check this 1.5 minus 1.25. So this is not less than 10 raised to power minus 2. Okay, so now check the sign of f at 1.25. It is positive. So now in the third iteration, again you take 1 here, you replace 1.5 with 1.25. Then again you find its midpoint 1.125. Then again you find the accuracy 1.25 minus 1.125 will not be less than 10 raised to minus 2. So it is, so if you check its sign, it is negative here. So now you will replace the negative sign, means 1 will be replaced with 1.125 and 1.25 will be same. Now if you again take the midpoint of these two, it will be 1.1875. So you find the accuracy 1.125 minus 1.1875. It is not less than 10 raised to minus 2. So it is negative. If you check its sign, it is negative. So again, the fifth iteration I will take, means I have to replace it negative also. So 1.1875 and 1.25 will be same. And here you have to find the midpoint. It will be 1. I'm taking midpoint of these two. It will be 1.21875. So here you should notice that if I'm taking the accuracy up to 2 decimal places, so in these calculation you have to take at least 4 decimal places, means with rounding. Suppose you are getting the midpoint of these two in 10 decimal places. So but it is better if you take up to 4 decimal places only. Means if you are want to do the accuracy at least up to 2 decimal, then this will be enough. 2 plus 2 will be enough if you are taking in 4 decimal in your calculation. You can round it up of 21288 also. Otherwise you can take full value if it is 4 and 5 decimal places. So now you find this difference. It is not less than 10 raised to minus 2 again. So now again, if I find its sign, it will be positive. In the sixth iteration, again negative will be negative only, means that positive will be replaced with 1.21875. So again you find its midpoint, it is 1.203125. So again you find its tolerance, it is not less than 10 raised to minus 2. So again you find its sign, it is negative. So this will be replaced with 1.203125 and this will be same. And here it is 1.195325. So now it is less than 10 raised to power minus 2. So here we stop. Here we will stop and this will be your approximation of the root. So it means I can write this as a P7. P7 is the root of this, approximate root of this equation. So this way you can apply the bisection method. Approximate root. I don't know the exact root of this equation, but if you find it by calculator, then you will see it is near about to this approximation. Any doubt in this procedure of bisection method?
पीछे वाली स्लाइड में डाउट था.
Yes. इस इससे थोड़ा लेंथी पड़ेगा because here you have to write all the things, but it will be better if you make a table. Yeah, long तो है, but you have to do practice.
जैसे हमने ये पहले वाले सबके लिए सॉल्व किया, उसके आगे 7 तक ऐसे सॉल्व करना है।
हाँ, ऐसे ही solve करना है. So that's why I have made table. तो table से easy है.
Yes.
हाँ, थोड़ा न्यूमेरिकल एनालिसिस में यही है कि थोड़ा कैलकुलेशंस करनी पड़ेंगी, अदरवाइज इट इज नॉट टफ. कैलकुलेशन
मैम इसे राउंड ऑफ भी करना होगा या फिर जितना आ रहा है?
यस, यू कैन राउंड इट ऑफ 1.1953 तक राउंड ऑफ कर देना.
ओके मैम.
At least you have to take 4 decimal places. So any doubt in this, or shall I move to the next? Is we will find out the error bound. Here we have done the method. So now in this, suppose function is continuous. C A B means it is a continuous function. Continuous functions. It is a space of continuous function I can write, or set of continuous functions on the interval AB. So I'm taking function belongs to this space. It means function is a continuous function on the interval AB, and f of A into f of B is less than 0. It means function satisfy all the properties of IVT. The bisection method generates a sequence Pn n equal to 1 to infinity, approximating a 0 t of f, but it says if you are taking any function, means this is the equation, if you take this function, it is a continuous function that it satisfy. F of A into f of A is also less than 0, and if you apply bisection method on it, then it will generate a sequence. Obviously, by taking the midpoints, you will get P1, P2, P3 that we have already seen, and Pn. So you are getting a sequence here that is approximating to a approximating a 0 p of f, means this is our exact root of this equation. So Pn will be approximating to this p with Pn minus p, means Pn is that where you stop the method here. So Pn is the approximation of this root, p is our exact root. So what will be the maximum difference of these two? Means here we have found 1.19 here. So that is our Pn. So where we have stopped, this is our approximate root. Now P, that is our exact root. So now what will be our maximum error in P7 and P minus P here? So that we have to calculate by this expression, that is B minus A by 2 raised to power n. So that error, the maximum error can occur only B minus A by 2 raised to power n by using bisection method. So if you're applying bisection method, it means you will get the error up to this accuracy only. So we will prove also. Actually, we will not be able to complete this proof, so we will do this in the next lecture. Okay. So, but you should understand this statement. If you have a function equation here, and if you are applying the bisection method, and if you find the approximate root by using bisection method, then the approximate root and the exact root, the difference of these two will be not exceed to B minus A by 2 raised to power n. What is B minus A? It is the length of the interval. AB you have taken, means in the previous question, if I say it will be P7 minus P will be less than equal to B minus A. It was 2 minus 1 because interval was 1 to 2 raised to power 7, because at the 7th iteration we have stopped. So it is 1 by 2 raised to power 7. So the maximum error will not gives you exceed by 1 by 2 raised to power 7. So that will continue in the next lecture, that this theorem. From this result, we can able to find the number of iterations also. Is by simply looking into the function, by using this result, then we will able to find that after how many iterations you will get the approximate root up to this axis. So for this you will practice these questions, this first question and the second question.